you see this? Hi and welcome back to a new episode of Sick Games Entertainment. Today, as promised, I'm going to be showing off the pedal setup that I've built over the course and upgraded my last pedal setup that you guys may or may not have seen. I will show you the last setup used and the differences to the new one. Now, as you guys can see, the main difference here is, well, first of all, it's black. But aside from that, there are some major improvements over the last generation, basically. Now, I've unscrewed the pedal plates here just so I can open this up and show you what's underneath it. We'll be using the second camera here on top to display this a little bit better. But just overall, let's go through the things that are visible right now. So you have a footrest here now that is movable. It can be adjusted to all different angles, usually matching the other three pedals. And you also have this foot limiter, as I call it here. It's just so in VR you don't need to too much look where your feet are. I mean, it seems like a minor thing, but it actually makes quite a big difference. When you have VR and you have the full motion, you do tend to, move your feet quite a lot, and then those two limiters will always tell you where you are with your feet. So over here you'll know you're at the footrest, over there you'll know you're at the gas pedal. So over then you have obviously the clutch, the brake, and the gas pedal. Some of the major changes that you will see is that the butt kickers have moved now from the sides to the back. And the main reason for that is, one is the footrest, because I didn't have much space to place the footrest on the previous rig. And then now they're out of the way, it just does seem to look better overall. They do not interfere with the pedal movement, so when you play, when you even pressing the maximum amount will not interfere with the butt kicker position placement. As well as the gas pedal, you will notice now is also inverted. So it has, there were a couple of different reasons. I do generally prefer the gas pedal to be on the bottom, but in this instance, it just made it so much easier for me to mount everything. Mounting the cables were a little too short. It just is overall a much cleaner setup. And I did need to extend basically the gas pedal with this OMP pedal plate, which I did talk about previously, but I will link all the materials used here as much as possible. I will link them in the YouTube description. Those will be affiliated links, but you will be able to get them, most of those things, fairly easy. Now, removing those plates will show you what's underneath. And I believe I've talked about this previously. The reason why those plates are separate is because you want to have the butt kickers separated, so the vibration does not blend the left and the right channel. So if you have 4 of those butt kickers, as I have it on my rig, I use it in a surround setup. So you have the butt kickers are basically resembling 4 of the suspensions and 4 of the tires. So when the left one goes off, the right one does nothing, and you should not feel it on your right foot. So if the left one goes off, you will only feel it on the left foot. And the reason why it's prevented is because of these shock absorbers placed up here. You guys will see it on the top mount camera. So these shock absorbers, as said, will be also placed in the link on Amazon. I just had to order actually about 10 pieces myself because I don't have enough. And they're screwed into these, I don't know what you call them in English, but Basically, it's what you use for the aluminum extrusions. And you just put them here. And they have a thread inside. And this is where you screw in the pedal plate. And then everything is on those shock absorbers. And when the butt kickers go off, only the plate vibrates and nothing else. It does not transmit into the rig all too much. All right, so that's the second plate removed. And I had to cut these. What I want to mention is basically that you don't need to bend the plates. Like I will put a link on Amazon where you can get the plates, but they will not bend them for you. And the places that do bend them for you charge a lot of money for this. And I do not recommend spending money on things that are not necessary. This is just for looks. This is not something that I did right now. I had those sitting here for about 5 years. It's a long story why I have them. I have quite a few of them. And they're bent for looks. It's just a premium kind of look, so you don't show off all what's underneath, but for your own private use, it will double the cost of those plates. And those plates are quite expensive on their own because you need them quite thick. You need at least 3 millimeters. Get them as thick as possible so it doesn't flex. The last thing you want in your pedal setup is any kind of flex. All right, so moving on. Underneath you will see the way it is mounted. So you have those extrusions here that basically hold up the entire pedal plate. And the setup is kind of the same on all of these pedals. On my old setup and on this new ones, those things are kind of the same everywhere. So I will give you all the measurements, and you don't need to do it exactly the same, but if you do want it exactly the same, then there will be, again, a link. I'll put in, there's a website in Germany that makes those extrusions, and I will put in a basket where you can just overall buy the entire setup. However, there is a big problem right now with the demand and supply. They do not have enough of the joints. They do not sell many of those little parts. The angles, the brackets, they're all out, and I don't know when they are coming back. But at least the extrusions, you will be able to get it, and then maybe you can set it up on your own or connect it any different way. And it doesn't need to be aluminum extrusions at all. So if you can do it out of wood, maybe you can do it out of wood. I don't know, I haven't tried it. It needs to be like really solid, heavy wood, because if it flexes again, it's not gonna be anything that you will enjoy. All right, so moving on, you have, where should I go with this first? Let me show you the main difference and the big surprise what the upgrade is. So yeah, let's just show you. So you see this? So you can now adjust any angle, any kind of position with just simple touches of 3 buttons. And the travel is quite heavy, and I'm extremely pleased with this upgrade. Now, this is not anything new to me personally, because I've used those kind of systems many years ago. About 6-7 years ago, we already built simulators with this kind of setup. I just haven't used it on my own personal rig because I didn't have the parts here. But all it basically is, you know how on the old simulator setup, on the pedal setup, I had a seat mover with a ratchet, like you lift it up and you basically pull it towards you. This is a seat adjuster as well. It's just this one is electronic. So we got this one is from a Motedis 300 or something. I don't know what the exact model, but basically it's a used electronic seat mover. And the original part for this is crazy high. I think it's like 1,200 euros. But we got this obviously not new, and it was used, and we bought it from eBay. I think you can get it for like about 70, 80 euros, something like that. Then you will need a power supply and some cables and some switches, and this is what I built currently. This is a temporary setup. Let's just show you over here. So you have 3 switches and every position does something. So back and forth angle adjustment. This one is front and back movement, and then this is the angle adjustment from the back plate. So all of this is right now temporarily routed as a cable salad here, but I will obviously do it all nice and in a nicer setup, and you won't see any of the cables, and just makes it so much better when you can adjust everything on the fly. Especially with the motion setup, you will not be able to adjust your seat, right? Because it's mounted already with the actuators. So there's no way for you to adjust a seat mover because it's already permanently attached to the actuators. So the only way you can adjust for that with high difference of drivers is to use adjustable pedals. And that way you cannot just adjust the travel of the distance, but you can also adjust the back angle, the front angle, and just adjust it to your needs. And I believe this is the greatest setup that you can strive for. It is quite pricey though. As said, with aluminum extrusions, man, prices are just through the roof with just about anything that you're doing with aluminum. But especially this particular set is not a Motedis set. This company that we ordered these extrusions for, that you see like a whole back aisle there. I have enough aluminum extrusions to build probably like still more, about 6 more simulators, because we had enough inventory to build 10, and I built 4, and yeah, so there should be about 6 simulators still in stock. Now, the company that we used for this is a premium company called Maytag. They're also based in Germany. The joints, everything, all the brackets, all the angles, all the joints is a lot more expensive. Every screw is like 10 times more expensive. So this is definitely not something that I would recommend, but they do make it in black. As said, none of this is any valuable information for you. Specifically, if anyone wants to try and do this for private use, you should not concentrate on that. Try figure out any cheaper way. Use the Motedis link that I provide, or try to maybe do it out of cast iron or any other kind of material that you can get your hands on, where you could potentially build something like this. And I'll show you a CAD file of this. That's all you need to do. And then get those rubber shock absorbers. This is one of the most important parts that you need to get, because there is no other way to absorb the vibrations. And then the plate on top, and that again does not need to be bent or any, just try and save cost and just do 2 different plates. And that's all about, there is no magic here. You will of course need the Heusinkveld pedals. I do love those still. I've had them for like 7 years now. And yeah, one of the greatest things I've ever purchased. And we have talked about this previously. If you guys can see that here, probably not. Let's just... So, yeah, like see those pedals? I don't know how to show you this. Maybe I should just get my phone. Probably just get my phone. Hold on, just give me a second. So yeah, I've been filming this video already once and I lost the audio footage. That's why that's always like upsetting. Anyway, so here I'm gonna show you with my phone. Over here you have those adapter plates, and those you can get off of Amazon or no, actually they don't sell them on Amazon. You have to get them through AliExpress or through eBay. I'll try to put a link as well. Those are about, I'd say like $20, 20 euros, something like this, 25 maybe with shipping. They're they are 3D printed, but they're very durable. Like, it's very rigid. I would say it's really good quality of 3D printing, because there is no, see, like, it's all like really solid, and they're not empty inside. I believe it's entirely 3D printed. The whole thing is fully filled, because they're really solid, and they come pre-drilled. So you have those two holes already pre-drilled to fit the Heusinkveld pedals, and then you have here, I don't know if you guys can see that, but there is a little knob here that fits exactly this plate, and then there's a hole for the screw so it doesn't twist. It's really good quality, and I wish Heusinkveld would just do it themselves, because like, you know, they can make some more money out of this, and it's actually really nice. And it pushes the angle of the possibility just way further, because you can see here I'm using almost the entire angle. I used to use the entire angle, but now that I have those adapters, I don't need the entire travel, but without them this would not also have this sort of angle. I don't know how to explain this, but all in all, I do recommend them. And it's just a much more of a nicer feel to operate the pedals at this sort of angle. And what I wanted to also show you, hold on, let me get rid of this. So if we put back the plates, what I like to recommend, if you build something like this. Now, pedals is something that you will adjust more than probably any other part on your rig. Like, there is no other part on your rig that you will be adjusting for comfort more than the pedals. You will be constantly moving them. And this is why I'm still a little afraid to cut this part off, because those are too high, right? You guys see how high that is? Yeah. So once I know that this will be the position that I'll keep, I'll try to shorten the height of the pedal setup so it can fit in my rig. And what I like to recommend you is get your shoes, the ones that you're racing on with, and try and adjust the pedal height with your shoe. And you want to have the base, what you call this? I don't know. The highest pressure point, like your brake. If you're using Heusinkveld pedals, and those are the cheaper ones that use like 60 kilograms of brake force. There are other models out there that use like 120 kg. You want the hardest part of your foot to be exactly on the middle, or like on the most difficult part where you're pressing this, right? So don't do it like this, don't do it like that. It shouldn't be like on the just on your toes. You want the entire grip to have towards the pedals. And then also try and space out the pedals in the proper way, because just before you may think that it's proper, but then it's not. Once you try on the setup with the shoes, you know, if you have two shoes here, I tried it before. I had to separate the clutch, because you want them to be as close as possible, but then not too close, so you can still operate in the proper way. And also, if you want to heel toe, make sure that you can actually, you know, operate heel toe. So yeah, I hope this kind of helps you around. All right, so all the measurements I will provide. Okay, yeah, sorry. All the measurements I will provide in the links. And again, it doesn't need to be exactly the same measurement, but I know for many new users, you just want to copy paste basically the application as easy as possible, just to get it right. Just you know, it's a never-ending story. I'm not sure this is going to be the final product, but all in all, I am pretty happy with the way it is set up right now. And I had to use my friend who is an electrician who connected all of this for me, because let me just show you here. It's quite a painful process to connect all of this together. So this would be what you would have to go through if you really want all 3 motors to function underneath the pedal plate. So like for the seat mover to be able to move in 6 different directions, you will need 3 switches that will each have a 6-pole connection and then route all the cables to the pedal setup. And once you get to that point, like if you really need help, then I can ask him to draw you a plan on how to connect those. But the main reason, or the main thing that you need to know here, is that you will need an AC adapter, which needs to be 12 volt. And I did buy here something that is the wrong one, of course, because that's my thing. Like I always purchase something that's wrong. This is 12 volt, 30 watts, and it's a universal AC-DC adapter, but for whichever reason it was not working because it's not strong enough. The only part that I used from here is this connector right here, because you can just connect this to the source, and then you'll have this adapter that you can plug into any sort of power supply. And the power supply we use now is this here, which oddly enough is also 30 watts and also 12 volts and also AC-DC, but it's a higher amp output. So this is 2.5 ampere. You guys can see here. Is that visible? I hope that's visible. If not, I'll put a screenshot. And then we had another one that worked even better, which was also 12 ampere, but that was, 12 volts, but this one is a 5 ampere output. And that's also AC-DC. And yeah, so both of these worked, and they're made for, one is for like an LED, not necessarily LED, but some sort of lamp. The other one is for a laptop. And this one is the one that I purchased. I said this may not work, but you may need the converter if you want to have it with an easy plug and play setup. So last thing is probably mentioning this is this will protect the cable from getting damaged. And this is also something that we use for a premium setup that will work like this. So every time we push the pedals out or away or in, the cable will just move alongside with those rails, and you'll be able to get this off of Amazon as well, or in the Motedis shop. So this just makes it look nicer instead of, the cable that you see here. All right, so I think that about completes it. I'll show you the old pedal setup, just so you can see the difference or how very much alike they are. So it doesn't need to be built in the same complicated way. Jesus, this weighs like 30. Fuck me. This weighs at least 30 kilograms, maybe more. Okay, so this is the old setup, and for any of you who want to just make it easier, this will be a hell of a lot easier, I suppose. You just lift this and you can move it. Right now you have to move them individually because obviously they're not bolted down to the sim rig, but you get the point. The setup is almost the same. the build is almost the same. You just have those two separate the pedal plates, and then you would put somewhere the butt kickers, although on this model you will not have space enough. So if you want to put the butt kickers in the back, you'll have to extend the back portion of it. And then all in all, it's just mounted on a seat plate, and then the seat plate is moved or is mounted to the 2 feet below where you can attach it to the sim rig. And that's all there is. It's not too complicated. Just knowing the parts that you need to make this happen and approximately how to design it. Now, I have to mention also, none of this goes to my credit. There is a forum in Germany, it's called Virtual Racing Forum. Many people help there. Many people are a lot more advanced than my knowledge. And I happened to meet there about 5-6 years ago, a very great guy by the name Ronnie Fantini. I don't know if he's still sim racing, we haven't been in touch. I actually need to yeah, say hello at some point. But yeah, he showed me a lot of great things on the inside, you know, sim racing world. So there are a lot of things like that that can be found on the German sim racing forum. Obviously, you'll have to read German, but yeah, that's where I come in, I guess. Show you around the dark world of sim racing. All right. All right, so here we're in the CAD file. This is just to help you visually understand what it is that you'll be attempting to build. And it's a mix between the new setup, so the upper part is exactly what I have right now, and then the lower part is basically taken from the previous model which I had, and I've changed the feet here because I believe this is a lot easier to work with, because the feet that I had here, they were not meant to be placed there, and they were a lot more difficult to work with. You would have to drill them, you'd have to get like really long screws, and it's just a pain. So with those ones are 10 centimeters, and if that were too high, for example, then you could mount it like something like that. Right, so that would make it 6 centimeters, and if that's still too high, you can even go higher, mount it like that. So there's a I believe that this will give you the most options to mount it properly and the easiest way. And the goal here is to basically lift the pedals, because if you were just to mount this upper section to the bottom of your rig, then chances are that the pedals will be too low, and I don't want you to be mounting stuff that is wrong. Like if you have a wrong sitting position, it will mess up your whole driving game. Of course, with the motorized version, it's great because then I can adjust, you know, the height of the pedals either way. I can adjust the travel, the distance to the pedals anyway. I can adjust the angle and match it from a Formula car to a GT car to any other car that would have the proper position. And I'll try to blend in those the sitting positions of various cars, or at least something for reference. There's a lot of great documentation on this for like Race Department, or Rigmatag did an article about this. Make sure that you, well, mount everything the correct way. So I'll try to show you all sides of this. And yeah, if you don't need them to be risen at all, then as said, you can just those things are like really cheap. Those are like at the Motedis shop, those are like a euro or two, whereas see over here, this is 267 euros the whole build here, and this does not include anything. Like there is no tax. Tax is 19%. Then coloring this entire part, like in black, would be another 20% of the total cost, from what I remember. So that would be like 350 euros with shipping. Like this is 12 kilograms already, and yeah, the Maytag is just extraordinarily expensive. So I wouldn't recommend that. But yeah, there are ways to save it. For example, if you were to disregard the inversion, then you would only get this. And I'll try and build 2 different kits at the Maytag links that I'll provide, and then you can choose with those links whichever version you want to build. And obviously this will be a lot easier for building, a lot cheaper, there are many, you know, advantages to do it just like that. And the way you mount the pedals in this case then is the front holes of the pedals go up here, right? And then the back pedals holes go here, and then you can adjust that to any sort of pedal. So it doesn't need to be Heusinkveld, but yeah, I do recommend them still. And you can then mount the plate, basically the left plate on these parts here, and then the right plate on this part, and then place the butt kickers. And yeah, what else was I gonna say? So if we go back to this whole build, I'll try and just call out the measurements just for your reference, I guess. There will be a list for this anyway. But yeah, this part, as you can see here, that's 40 centimeters, obviously on the other side as well. The parts in between are 43 centimeters each. Pay attention that the back one is wider, and then the front parts are 15 centimeters each, and they are built in a direct line. And then the side mount panels are like 560, so like 56 centimeters. But as said, that's too high. Like it's definitely not going to be needed that much of a height. I would probably get like 50, 51. We'll see. I'll try and put it in the kit the way it's hopefully should be enough. Then these parts are 20, I believe. Yeah, that's 20 centimeters each, and then the parts in between are 35 due to those being 4 centimeters wide. Alright, so the lower parts are 55 each, and those are 10 centimeters as that. So the kit will include basically everything that you need, including the end caps, all the end caps and all the brackets and screws. And the only thing that will be extremely different will be the mounting, because here the mounting points are inside the panels, inside the extrusions, and it's going to be at the Motedis. It's just a different patent and very different setup, and I guess I'll have to show you how to mount that as well. So I suppose I'll show you that next. Okay, so yeah, this is the part of the studio that you haven't seen yet in its entirety. This is basically where I'm building stuff, and all the, like you can see it down here, all the extrusions and Maytag stuff. But for why I'm here is to show you how to connect the aluminum extrusions, because obviously you'll get the parts, but then how do you connect them? Well, the way it works is you have these connectors that consist of 3 pieces. There's a screw, looks like this. Then there's a capsule, looks like this, which you put the screw inside the capsule, and then you put a T-nut on top. And I understand this is still not really showing you what to do. So what you do is you put the screw in, but then you take a 6mm hexagon key and you put that in here. All right, this is made for the hexagon key. And then you put it inside the profile and you counterclockwise just put it in, which is not going to be as easy as it looks right now because I'm just doing it on a pre-drilled profile where it was already done. This is going to be a pain, but the screw here just keeps it aligned so it's straight and it stays in there, and you just then take one of these T-nuts and you do that on the other side as well. So remember, take the screw, put it in on this side where it's plain, and then you align it to the profile. And on this side it's actually not drilled, so you'll see how difficult that is. I've done hundreds of those manually, like when I did the very first rig that I was building, literally hundreds of those. And this is quite difficult. It will become easier by the time. It's usually easier when you do it on a table, and you can also use a drill, like you know, with the correct drill bit of 6mm hexagon. You can also try and do it with a drill. I've usually just done it manually because it's more straight. So looks like this. Then you push in the key, the screw. You just hit against it, and then you put the screw, the T-nut on top. Now remember, when you do it, you have to do it counterclockwise. This is made that way. So now what you have is those two T-nuts, and you can, at any point, you can just put it in, and then when you start to tighten the screws, they will, don't film me, film the screws. Oh yeah, that's a different key. Now it's 5mm for those. And can you see what's happening? You have to do it from both sides, and it goes. Okay, yeah, I won't be able to. Okay, anyway, you get the point, right? Hopefully, that those T-nuts, they just spread inside and then they hold the profiles. And now it's together, and it needs to be always done on both sides. So one on this and one on the other. And that way, it's very firm and you can adjust it any way that you want. So there are different parts to this. I'll just show this to you on the Maytag company. Yeah, okay. Technology. So Maytag, the expensive company, does it easier, but that's why it's a lot more expensive. Look at these connectors. Those are spring-loaded. They're 2 or 3 times as thick, and it just goes in like this. So you would place one part in here, and then put this in here, and you can just put it like this, or in the middle of it, you can just put it in there, turn, and then screw it back in. And this, of course, is a lot easier. However, the drawback of this, there is also a drawback. There's always a drawback. The drawback of this is this you cannot modify on your own. So whatever you order, it's final. Whereas on the Motedis parts, you can move it, you can change the angles, you can change the position. On this, you can't do shit. Like it's pre-drilled here, and if you want to cut it, you're not going to have the hole for the ball joint to make the connection. So this is the drawback of this, but it's obviously, of course, a much easier system to set up, but again, a lot more expensive, just crazy amounts of more expensive. They have all sorts of connectors like this, or parts like this. Those actually you can have on the Motedis as well. And it's the same like the T-nut, those are just different sizes, and you can just place them inside the aluminum profile. It looks like this, and at any point of the profile you can just put it in, flick it inside, and then it stays there, and you can move it to any position, and you just basically lock it in with the screw. Alright, so over here, if you were to follow the link that I provided that has all the parts, you will see the website starting like this. And what's weird here is that they seem to like do business internationally and let you choose all the countries and whatnot, but that's not the case. I don't know what the deal is with this, but if you were to click on USA, for example, you can see here there is some parts, and including like sim racing stuff, but you can just buy the entire sim rig. There is nothing else that you could purchase. Like you cannot buy individual sim, not sim, like the aluminum extrusions, you cannot order them separately. And for example, here in the slot profiles, it looks like you could order everything that you need, but it says here accessories. So you can only buy the accessories for the aluminum extrusions, but you cannot buy the aluminum extrusions themselves, which is really weird because I don't know how they're selling this, and it doesn't make any sense. Like I can't do one without the other. What is the point of selling this? So yeah, the point is that you will basically, when you see all the countries, you'll need to select a country that actually is supplied by Motedis, and that apparently is just Germany and Austria from what I can see here. So if you were to click Germany, and I did it actually out of the Austrian website, but if you were to click on Germany, because Germany is supplied, all the part lists actually appear. So if you pick a country that is supplied, you should see all of these parts, and all these parts are basically what I have put in the basket in order to build the complete inversion kit, like as it says here, pedal inversion kit. And two things that are really important. One is whatever you see here in the basket, I've tried to summarize it as good as possible, but it will never be complete. You will always be missing something. So be prepared to reorder whatever it is that you will be missing. So in order to, connect it to your sim racing rig or your setup, you will for sure need, I don't know, one bracket, one screw, one angle, one joint, something that it may be minor, but you will need to reorder stuff. I have never completed a project without reordering something again, even though I have most of the things. It's just the way it is. It's just fun like that. The other thing that's really important is that all these parts are made individually and cut individually for you. So whenever you place an order, it's final. You cannot return any of this stuff. So I can't stress this enough. If you don't feel up for doing this, then don't do it, because you will not be able to return it. And also mind you that this is not the final part list. You will need the plates, you will need the pedals, you will need the seat mover, you will need the rubber shock mounts, some further screws. I'll try to link all of this in Amazon, but as said, it's a project. I mean, nothing gets built this very first day. So if you were to order this, do it slowly, pay attention, just don't deconstruct your entire rig the first day. It will not work out. So just build the pedal inversion kit. Once it's completed and when it's actually mounted, then you can, you know, start demounting your pedals and stuff. So yeah, I think that's about it here. Oh my god, I feel like this video is never gonna get done. Alright, so here on eBay, if you were to get those 3D brackets, all you need to do is on eBay just type in Heusinkveld and they straight up come up. You know, one seller or another. It's about 20 euros and it's 5 euros shipping, which I believe is worldwide. And mind you, this is from China, so expect to wait like 4, 5, 6 weeks. I think I waited like 6 weeks. Yo. Yo. We need to call this a day. This is getting ridiculous. This completely got out of hand, the entire video. It's 45 minutes. I can't believe you are still around watching this. If you are, you know, there's so much information changed during this video edit. At first, Motedis didn't have the parts listed, so I was like, well, what's the whole point of this video if you can't even do it? And then they got the parts back in stock, and then I stumbled upon some items on Amazon because I was searching for something else, and then I found some aluminum extrusions, and then from there I went on and found all the other parts, and then I had to put them in. And basically I did a site now where you can see all the pictures and descriptions and all the links, so all of you international viewers that will not be able to get the Motedis parts, you can now at least get the parts from Amazon, but you still need to watch the CAD file video where you will get the sizes for those aluminum extrusions. And mostly it's used with 40 by 40 aluminum extrusions, and some parts are 40 by 80. But yeah, you'll get the point. And I really need to just wrap this up. I could work like 3 more days on this. This is complete BS. And you can see, like, I don't care anymore. Look at me, I'm wearing like my 3rd or 4th different outfit throughout this video because it's been so many days, and I've been meaning to upload this like 3 days ago. Yeah, no RGB lights, no nothing. I don't care, I just want to go home. So yeah, excuse me. And I know that if you're still here, you're definitely subscribed, so I don't need to mention that. Hit this video with a like, or I will definitely understand it if you thumb it down. But yeah, let's just call it a day. I'll update you on the rig on the next episode. I'll show you the installed pedals, because right now they're not here. They're still here. So, you know, this is gonna take like another 1 or 2 days. I need to go sleep and sleep this face off. All right, so take care. You can tell by my energy and by the whole thing here, like I'm on coffee and I'm Red Bull. I'm just dying here. All right, take care. Bye-bye. See you on the next one.